Based off how the beginning of this series went, I did not know if we would get to this point, but officially, in a nail-biter of a series, 13-11, YFP to take the win, send us into map 5 here in the lower finals. I mean, Mimi, through and through. FlyQuest, favorites coming into this, but YFP close behind and pushing them to all the way to the end of this thing.
YFP have only been together for a couple months in this iteration. This is their first ever best of 5 they've played in one of these events. And now they've won 2 back-to-back maps to push us all the way. This team has shown so much tenacity throughout this event. A comeback to even get here. And a really incredible showing as well on Abyss. They were in control in that second half. That attacking side, I think, really abusing the gaps in the Sentinelist comp that FlyQuest was running, and really pushing this one all the way, Christy.
And being super clutch too, right? Melia absolutely toying with Starbound when that ult came out to win out. That was an eco round. Again, YFP have so consistently been able to win on these eco rounds, and that's ultimately what pushes them over the edge. It's what destroys FlyQuest's economy. It's what puts more and more pressure on them. YFP continued to play these rounds out in a very slow, deliberate pace, activating Ella's operator play through mid, which seemed very effective, and consistently on these sites, whenever there was just a million smokes being put down, YFP were finding the angles to come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, elaborate second half operator, you mentioned it, constantly finding space in mid. I think if you contrast these two teams' defensive side, it's a really clear picture. For YFP, they had this harbor utility to condition fights down mid, to take space there and threaten these walk-ups. They were constantly forcing FlyQuest to have to re-clear the space and make sure they had full control of the map. Whereas for FlyQuest, they were constantly just concerned with trying to anchor down these sites. YFP was finding a lot of gaps. They were getting players embedded and coming up with those late round clutch moments to keep this game alive.
I also think that YFP did a really good job calling around Dodonut's operator. I mean, you look at the screen right there. The duelists, the double duels of FlyQuest, the bottom fraggers, 12 kills and 10 kills apiece between Dodo and Sonder. And that was really what they needed to find, those opening kills on defense with the Jet and the Yoru fighting aggressively to get an advantage. I think the fall off ever since Dodonut's second half of Bind has been immense. I believe she's only found 17 kills in the last 3 halves that she's played, and so much of it has come down to YFP fighting super well together and also just avoiding her early in rounds. Dodo's been really frustrated to find those early kills, and it's definitely caused YFP to have the upper hand.
And that is dangerous when you're looking now in the series, because with closing out that map, we're now headed into map 5. Lower finals. And to reiterate the stakes here, FlyQuest, if they can win out this final map as we're now heading into Lotus, they secure a spot to the Game Changers Championships in Berlin. But YFP, they have to win this and then get the upset in the Grand Finals Ender. And at the beginning of the series, I didn't know if they had it in the tank, but as this goes on, they're kind of heating up more and more. Is this possible?
It's really hard to say because Lotus is such a question mark, I think, for this YFP team. The only time they've played this since the qualifiers for Series 2 was in the qualifier they ended up winning against Oomfies here. And that game went 2018. It was a giga overtime. They've only played it the one time in the last 5 months, which is just crazy to think about. Whereas FlyQuest Red, they have a lot of reps on this map. Recently, they've been dipping into mostly the Gecko and the KO that they were playing back in the last qual, but they also only have the one game up against, or sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. They've been playing the Deadlock recently as Solo Senti, which I think is a really strange one here that YFP will definitely have to have a good prep into.
I mean, it's even weirder for a team in North America because they're kind of China build. They're running the like double ball smokes with Clove and Omen that FPX was popularizing earlier in this year, which is a really cool comp, right? Like you have a lot of ideas on your attack side, especially for segmenting off different areas and being able to kind of take these very small fights to scale in. There's a lot of interesting ideas with one-ways, things like that, but playing it without that Cypher or that Killjoy, I do think makes your defense harder. We saw in the last map how much FlyQuest struggled with leaving some of those gaps open, and I think it's even more difficult on Lotus to play a comp like this successfully, even though it does have those benefits.
Especially to going up against a YFP. Now, they got that momentum in the series as well. So if all of a sudden they're going to be able to find gaps in this defensive hold of FlyQuest, and I mean, YFP coming into this, they're a team that we talked a lot about. They can come out here and they can shoot. So if they're taking that momentum and then also have an advantage into this composition ender, I think this is really, really scary. From FlyQuest, we have seen throughout that they're more than capable of shooting back, but I think it was a little bit lackluster in that last map. And we need to see that turnaround now to close out this lower finals for either of our teams.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're just looking at the maps that FlyQuest won, Dodonut is putting up obscene numbers and everyone else is kind of, you know, metered out. Obviously, when Dodonut is getting 30+ kills, it's hard to find a lot. But the fact of the matter is, if Dodonut isn't putting up those numbers, more players need to step up. Starbound had a phenomenal game on the Viper, but even then, Starbound, the last 2 times they pressed ult in a clutch situation, lost that fight. There was the ult round back on Bind, Starbound ulted up in numbers, and they lost that too. So even after a great game like that, you've still got these questions in the back of your mind saying, if I had just played those rounds better, we wouldn't even be on this final map.
It was different teams, but last year we came into a lower final with almost exactly the same stakes here, right? A squad who had been dominant all year, who had the points to make it, but lost out at the last second in that lower final. E.g., the squad that Theo was leading went on to win the finals and make it all the way to Berlin. FlyQuest have done a lot this year, but their spot is not assured unless they win today. And they are gambling that chance on a new composition. They're the team going back in to this solo deadlock comp, the double smokes coming out. I'm really excited to see what they have here because their year's on the line.
FlyQuest Red, an opportunity to control their own destiny, get into that grand final, secure the spot. YFP, the upset, an opportunity to play again, try and see if they can steal it away. It is time for Lotus, final map of the best of 5, and time to head back over to your casters, Uber and Wyatt.
Well, Wyatt, this series has delivered to about as a great an extent as we could ask for, maybe even more, but we only get one more map of YFP versus FlyQuest Red. For YFP, this is only a part of the run that they'd have to make, right? But for now, they are laser focused on winning this series. And it will be the second consecutive time they managed to do so. In their first best of 5 as a team, they are threatening FlyQuest Red with a reverse sweep.
This would be the greatest result of this team's run so far, and a run that's only been a couple months against a FlyQuest that have been grinding all year long to make it to Berlin, to compete in grand finals, to win tournaments. And it's this young upstart team, this group of great players that has come together to make it all the way to their first lower final and potentially their first grand final on top of that if they can get the job done here.
Pretty standard one way here as FlyQuest come up on that attack side. Sheriff is Scary Shark, so they're more than happy to try and play off of it. They come off second best when it comes to the trade. There's a ponderous start to the round, but FlyQuest have already managed to get Sonda into rubble and up on that A side.
A very deep position. Pressuring Shuri as well, opening the door, feigning some presence there, which Marcelin has to be weary of. You can see in the minimap that she's picked up that angle while the rest of FlyQuest just focus on containing elsewhere. Towards Mound right now. Towards B main as well.
Player has paranoia, so this will be a util assisted hit to B. And the timing's pretty good, frankly, with that Viper wall. Sonda's also making their way up as well. They would be seen from sight. Marceline holding an angle to capture Costa. Great timing though. Corrupt, but the door opening emerges here. Finds the opener in this game. And YFP now fall back again towards that B site. Sonda is the cat amongst the pigeons, but Marceline could be anywhere. Now revealing herself at risk of going into a 1 versus 2. The blast pack doesn't help shift them. That gets taken down. But Ev was picked up by Corrupt.
Spike
Now inside
has
that
been
smoke.
retrieved. Sonder
Sonder
has
has to
that
take the
full
spike.
HP.
Just runs over it. That is huge. That overheal is a big difference maker. Little pick me up, actually. Little pistol round goes a long way. Now we're even on those numbers. Coming in from that top side. Scary Shark is going to have a double, if not triple, face down to deal with, and they handle it with style, no less. Star Medalist can upgrade to a Sheriff here in that post plant, but the line isn't great for them, and both YFP players are in and around this A site. They'll reveal themselves with that cyber cage. Moving back and forth through it, and they cannot stop the defuse. YFP picking up where they left off.
That is just all on Scary Shark, finding that two-piece with the Sheriff, and even a bit of damage onto Starbound. Extra cherry on top. I like how FlyQuest were playing that, though, flipping the map, getting aggressive towards Heaven, trying to isolate one player, trade them out, and then retaining that position. That would have been a nightmare for the retakers if they go 1-for-1 there. Scary Shark just absolutely pops off to win that pistol round.
I mean, YFP on the defense side, really happy for whatever they can get. Pistol round, perfect start for them here. We're stacked up over towards Mound here for FlyQuest. This time, no one from YFP looking to move up to challenge the one-way. It's just going to be Elaborate playing off the angle with the Guardian.
That early haunt got the ping on Sonder as well, and now Scary Shark has full control over towards A, allowing some YFP players to drift more towards this C side. The Executors are going to come in. The Paranoia connects up to both defenders.
C's on 3. Everyone decayed down, but YFP don't have a prior opportunity to put damage down. Now Elaborate, so meticulous, so careful, so effective. Still a 15 health to work with now, and FlyQuest get completely gutted on this push in. Pretty lifeless start to the map for them. YFP now moving into the bonus with a head of steam.
That's just perfect utility. Nothing else to really say. You have Scary Shark take full presence of A side all the while with the scoped weapon. But that C's connecting onto 3 players. I mean, come on, the hit is just over at that point. You're delaying to get more rotates in. It's set up Elaborate for a very easy kill. When those players were revealed, it's just that easy, flawless, everything retained. Starbound on the light armor, in danger of the potential one-shot from that Outlaw.
YFP have only gotten better over this series. They're looking sharper than ever. And we are, what, 4 hours into the series? Well, we're not quick enough this time. Dodonuts able to find the head.
I mean, that is a real factor, right? 4 hours in, the fatigue, being Fly, who were up 2 maps. The second one dominant.
What is that? Corrupt has no coverage whatsoever there.
Outlaw goes wide as well. Yeah, that is really odd. Just wandering toxic screen. I mean, perhaps if it dropped and there could have been a double face or something, but very light. YFP have just been absolutely dismantled.
Yeah, odd round. Really strange. But we're just talking about the fatigue starting to creep in, and there's could be a reason there that Corrupt looking over towards the CT side, with no one covering them from rubble. Either way, we let that one go now, and you can see that FlyQuest have canvassed the site in a number of pieces of utility. Again, this is a deadlock composition. This is one that really wants to get in onto the sites and make those retakes virtually impossible.
Elaborate, just chilling with the Guardian, maybe going to get an exit.
And I think that the teachable moment there for YFP is, I mean, look where the first 2 kills happen. One is a player pushing out of B. The other one is, playing over towards, this grassy area here. They know that they don't want to allow there to be a plant whatsoever. They want to really play ahead of that util as much as they possibly can. They have to be stacked up to fight at that. Yeah, it's questionable that.
Regardless, so now we do have the full buy from YFP. We have the Odin as well. Potent on this map, fighting towards tree. These walls over on C as well, spamming through like the little tiny wall, denying a spike plant. Pretty easy to do.
FlyQuest here. Might be looking to test B in a faster manner. They're drawing a lot of attention over towards upper though. No need to rush. Still a minute 20 to play with. Scary Shark is starting to get in a position there towards Waterfall to have a crossfire on the cross into C. And again, there is some mild lurk pressure here from Sonda, but she hasn't been overly exploratory towards the A side. Not like we saw in the pistol anyway, which by this point she's already opened the tree door.
Fly are doing a nice job prodding around different areas of the map, making this pressure towards C with the Prowler. Press up very close on Fuse while giving themselves options. Donut finds the timing, feels the confidence, the ability to get that pick. And now again, options. They could split into B. They could pivot into a full A execute.
Oh, they are ready to pounce upon this. Melia is about to be an extremely endangered species. Into the site we go. Everyone from FlyQuest is here. And again, it's the post plant you're trying to avoid. It's the post plant you're going to be put in again. Marceline set up to go towards drop. Again, sonic sensors everywhere. And a barrier that cuts off the stairs approach route. And Sonda yet still wanted to move up the rope, maybe to catch a timing on the Odin player, but Elaborate has to take this gun out of there and hope to get out alive. They don't manage to do it. And Scary Shark again is to sit this one out. Beautifully done by FlyQuest. Again, the oppressive power wide of this post plant setup, they really put on full display.
Absolutely. Deadlock. We always go on and on about it, but it's just so strong in those situations, so difficult to retake against. I am very impressed with Fly so far. They're doing a great job at working the map.
Alright, gotta be that. FlyQuest here. Starting to work the map a little bit. Able to glean plenty of information about what was happening at C and B, apparently. Remember, they drew 3 players to that B site early in the round with this push from Donut. A name that we haven't been really uttering a whole lot over the last couple of maps. Why? At least not really in a positive context. What a time for them to come alive again in this series towards the tail end.
Look for
Sonder as well. As I mentioned previously, this is the 11th Game Changers tournament that Sonder has participated in North America and has been putting up the best stats she ever has. Stepping up here on the final map to try and get them into their 3rd straight grand final.
Honestly, so much of that happened when Donut over the last few series just wasn't looking to be herself. Not at her best. We saw flashes of that in this series, that's for sure. First few maps were ridiculous from Donut. 32 in regulation earlier on. What a catch on towards Marceline. That is beautiful. GravNet hatches out 2 players. The solo deadlock going to work on YFP, and FlyQuest are just stepping up and taking every single fight.
That is beautiful. The GravNet really does get so much value on attack, especially when you're trying to re-clear into rubble. Just those sort of predictable positions do get nullified by it. And then comboing, I mean, there with the showstopper, but a nade would have worked just as well. Or any blind, really, any amount of utility just makes getting that kill so easy. Both of them in that round, that is, but nicely handled, nicely dealt with.
A lot of these attacking rounds starting to come together for FlyQuest. Again, we need to see a pretty brutal end of this half. Don't want to see a capitulation like we did. I think you're back to Bind. That was a huge lead the FlyQuest had built up, and they were not able to maintain it or convert it. They lost, goodness me, 10 rounds in a row, I want to say. Maybe a little less, but it was that bad.
This is no problem.
Here we go. Heading into round 6. FlyQuest with an economy that has really been untouched so far. A chance for YFP to buy up and disrupt it.
And what you're touching on there is just so important. The ability to mentally stay in this series. A series that you could easily convince yourself
This is no problem.
you should have won already. You should already be done with this. Getting a nice little dinner with the team. A little rest to get ready for the finals tomorrow. But no, you're on map 5 now, and you're still competing because of that sick comeback that YFP pulled off 3 maps ago. You have to stay mentally in this game, and it looks like FlyQuest have. Operator now in the hands of Scary Shark. Great first kill, GravNet. Irrelevant! I mean, I almost ate my words there, but does retreat with 30 HP nonetheless.
That's enough. Paranoia catching Sonder, also lit by that trap. Elaborate though knows they can't fire on that. So FlyQuest get into the site. No catch off the Annihilation. Elaborate able to avoid it now, getting back into Waterfall. That should be walled off, yes. Elaborate pinched on the wrong side of it though. Gonna have to fight Sonder in a few moments, who's been the standout for FlyQuest so far this map. Nightfall here, the decay, an issue if you want to try and take a fight. There's that ultimate being activated for Sonder. Can they turn this into a recovery? Melia downs them yet again. Now or even. Melia with no frags up until this round has done well to keep YFP in it. But it's up to Scary Shark with an operator. 2 players stacked up. I've seen this go horribly wrong in my time. But Thea completes the round.
I felt like, listen, there was a chance we were going to see exactly what you thought we were possibly going to see. What we didn't. That was some real proactivity from FlyQuest, fighting towards Waterfall, something you have to do when you're fighting on that C site, when you have the spike down. You know, most rounds you're going to want to play actively, take the fight towards Halls or towards Waterfall, as they did. And then Sonder was able to get a safe retreat, come back to life, play the round as a 6v5, and all the while it was Thea over on Ben that gets right here, that nice peek up top. While the YFP players had been in the midst of dealing with Sonder resurrection.
And in fairness, Sonder does go down twice in quick succession. The round starts, of course, with, you know, a pretty decent position there. I think it was Marceline able to find a pick and even able to get away despite being caught inside a GravNet. That's something you've got to be aware of. That is something the Deadlock is going to try and throw at you. Those early trap plays from the attack side. They get away with 30 HP, and then there's a cross into that C site. And there's a trip that lights up. I think it was Sonder, but Elaborate is not in a position to do much about it. FlyQuest do want to play fast and loose here on some of these rounds. But on others, they're working the map. They're finding the weakest held site and then just inundating it with players.
As you mentioned, it was the 4v5. They got that early pick, and they've taken the op, given it to Starbound. Frequent user of the operator, even from this Sentinel role. Not sure, might have gotten spotted out by Scary Shark, going to retreat off the angle regardless as the Poison Cloud goes up and the Prowler clears out. Close mount. Adventurous are YFP right now on this. Taking some jiggle peeps, trying to find something to shoot at with one of these sheriffs.
Sonder doing everything that she can to get eyes on this part of the map. Corrupt almost looks like they had a thought about trending back towards Baby Door and watching a push onto A. Think about this from the defender's perspective. Very limited information here. Marceline probably gets a look at Dodonut there. 57 seconds left. Plenty to work with, but there's no true foothold over on A for Sonder yet.
Wants to take this fight against Melia. Melia actually has the hero rifle, but just falls off the angle. That timing is crazy. Sonder's walking in, going to get the free kill. What a disaster. How unlucky. Oh my god, what is that?
That is a collat headshot from Elaborate. A tripwire really coming up big, but it's a heck of a lot of work to do after the fact. Excuse me, Marceline now has to come in from, well, the next county over with a Bucky. Yeah, even the Sheriff looks like a more attractive option here. I swear, this series has had some of the most uncanny moments from individuals doing things that frankly nobody has any business doing.
The talent in the server really is mental as far as the individual mechanical play goes. Credit to Sonder here, though. Again, just elusive on these lurks. Has been so tricky to deal with. Keeps finding the timing windows to work up when solo on Rubble. And on that one, variation prior was just procking the door, opening it, causing that distraction, but not actually pushing through that aggressively. Picks the perfect round to do so, though. What a great opening, a free opening.
Credit though, where it's Sonder did draw another player over the stairs. It wasn't just Melia in the end. Paranoia you can suffer as a defender on this map, you just don't know. Now though, I think it's pretty clear what the plan is. Straight down through the box, Melia goes very low. Sonder absolutely tearing heads off shoulders. And now back into the site, Marceline has to fall. Elaborate will be tested. And found wanting. As Ev is able to run them over. going to 6-2 here. This is exactly what you need to see from FlyQuest on the attack side.
They have been utterly dominant in the map control game. Fighting over rubble there, they are the ones with all of the confidence fighting forward, and you're just seeing from their point of view such a passive YFP playing behind the wall, trying to set up some kind of crossfire, and then it's initially just stood in the door. Thea gets that free span kill, but they're overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed by the utility that FlyQuest have to throw at them when they're in those more entrenched positions. They're not trying to fight actively and stop them at the choke. And they could. They have the utility to do it. They have the C's, they have the nade, they have mollies. They can try to fight forward. Now, can it be tough going up against what Fly have? Yes, but just being stood in those positions where you're going to get caught by grav nets from the opposite side, etc., is just not ideal. Look at how they're getting run over here. Look at the scaling as a team from Fly. It's just relentless.
What are they supposed to do about this lurk presence from Sonda? Because it's basically Schrodinger's team on the A side of the map. YFP don't know what is going on there until it seems to be too late. Sonda's so happy with this. She's laughing all the way to the bank. Yes, everybody come here. Come, shoot me. Try and fight me. One all the way from another ultimate on that clove, by the way. Elaborate marked up by that Prowler. Amongst it, Elaborate also trying to take some shots at the people caught in the tripwires, but it's tough. The weaponry isn't good for YFP either. They have to play from halls. Waterfall's cut off, so there's really only one avenue of approach here outside. A very long, wide flank now unfolding for Marceline.
Just standard deadlock hit onto the C site. Standard barrier to cut off Waterfall, and it's so tough to play Ben against this composition. You're either getting hit by a Seize or a Grav net, and then the nade comes in. Elaborate's just doomed. Sonder on the late flank. She has taken over this game. 16-5. Dominant. Dominant and controlling parts of the map on her own. Heads up flank in that round. Winning the duels against rifles as well. Just doing everything correctly. All the shots connecting.
Can YFP win their first gun round of this map? The problem is for FlyQuest is that the rounds that they've been winning, which is most of them, they have not been taking a lot of casualties. They've been very clean. This economy is fully maxed out. Sonda, well, you think that maybe there's a time to be had there. I don't think there's anyone to play off of this Clove ultimate, so Sonda will be down a second time. I haven't really seen that be a big difference maker in this game, that Clove ult, but still, plenty of time for that to emerge as Thea tries to TP towards spawn side. Now, Elaborate is going to have to fight off the side or 1v3 in it. Eventually, Starbound will find it.
Tough situation now. With FlyQuest trying to find a moment to get the spike down. They should be able to, with the barrier mesh still intact, cutting off the angle from Waterfall. That is the dangerous one. Showstopper, gonna force Donut into a good position, actually. Starbound picks up the angle, doable suddenly.
He's trying to get through. Starbound going to be forced off the line, but Donut is here. Ensconced, in shadow, entrenched in the sights, and they cut down like the Dark Knight. What? Absolute filth. Still Donut now. Paint shells deployed, or to deploy. Corrupt doesn't have much choice to try and get ahead of them. Oh my word. That is ungodly.
Just simply should not be winnable at all in the 2 versus 4. YFP handled everything perfectly. Sonder denied towards A, realizing that they were going to go for that big split play when the Omen uses the ultimate to teleport all the way behind flank here. No, Elaborate ready. Finds that easy kill. They're so set up to win this, but it's all Donut. Was so heads up getting onto the boxes when the ultimate came in from Marcelin to be able to dodge that rocket. Excellent play. You called it earlier, but Donut stepping up. Scary Shark. Instant kill. Confident.
Has the 8-2 buff been activated for YFP?
It is. Listen, I will never count them out of a game. I simply will not count them out. You'd be a fool to do so.
It's like 9-3, but on steroids.
I mean, this team has made so many second half comebacks happen where they win 10 rounds. They've done it multiple times in this tournament already. Cannot doubt them.
Nice little timing there from Scary Shark. Just as Fly we're looking to get off the starter's block. What is Sonda hoping to dig up here? We have a double. The timing! Oh, not another one. Marceline surely takes this. Oh, can you imagine? Trigger discipline, though. Marceline. Cool autumn breeze. Still over on the seaside. Things not shaping up well for YFP. They haven't managed to cut off this, push up here through Waterfall, and Dodonut clean with the flick. All up to Marceline now. Phantom in hand. 25 points of armor. And a big hill to climb.
Some weak players that could get spammed down. They are in danger already with the paranoia out, though. Another player taking contact as soon as they see Marceline. She will be blinded up.
There's paranoia. Just like we drew it up. Dark cover to keep Marceline out of the sight. Man, 6 paint shell combo also. Yeah. That's a lot of post-plant utility for FlyQuest.
They're not playing games. And they are repositions on the top of the box with the crossfire. Yeah, just time to save that weapon. FlyQuest are not messing around. They're not taking a silly duel when they don't need to. They want to win this game. They want to make it to the 3rd straight Game Changers final this year. Get another crack at Shopify. They were so close in Series 2. Losing that Series 3-2. They want to try to get some revenge. And even more importantly than that, the win here just gets them to Berlin. It gets them to the Game Changers Championship. What these teams have been working for all year long.
Now the question has to be asked. Can YFP win any kind of rounds on this defense side? We know the way that Lotus tends to tilt. However, this has been, for their standards, the standard they've set in this series, pretty abysmal.
Here's that combo with the instant grab net. Knock goes up. Melia has to break the Prowler. Annihilation comes through and it does capture. Melia doomed. Marceline desperate to save her teammate, but cannot. A free opening pick.
Oh, that's about as bad as things could have gone to start this round.
Look at Scary Shark. Push up into pillar while all that action was happening towards C.
They're suspicious. FlyQuest are. But are they suspicious enough?
They know it's possible.
No way! I mean, you've got to hand it to them. Like, really, dotting their I's and crossing their T's of FlyQuest and checking that position. Now, Labra still is on that A side with the trips to play with too. Corrupto has made their way out. Deals with Starbound. No spike loose there. And the timing favors Sonda. Already in the side when Corrupt tries to join in. Here's the Nightfall. Prowler to follow it up. Sonda gonna be overwhelmed if they're not careful. Corrupt does go down. F has the off angle and the spike still to hand. Now where do we go from here? Labra doesn't have a corpse, so no chance of that neural theft.
30 seconds left.
And here comes the Prowler to check some of this side for YouTube, but Labra's gonna be there. Now the corpse has been found. And Marceline gets YFP a gun round. 9-3 half though for FlyQuest.
Finally finding a gun round, and really, it was just individuals going for fights. It wasn't anything more than that. Corrupt just tries to find a timing to walk out of B after Scary Shark had gone 1-for-1 on their own individual play, pushing up. They just win the duels. They're able to trade things out in the end. And again, YFP, 3 rounds. That can be enough. They have made several 10-round winning comebacks on second halves in this tournament, which is mental to say, but it is a fact. This is doable. And as always, Mitch, it's just so stupid to say, but they need to win this pistol round. As obvious as that is, it must be said.
In general, YFP, last couple of pistols have gone pretty well for them. Win the pistol at the start of Lotus too. Maybe even more damning, of course, is that fact, considering that the rest of the half they really weren't able to find too much. But we put that behind us now, as must YFP. A spot in the grand finals of Game Changers Series 3 on the line for FlyQuest. Qualification directly to Berlin, regardless of the result of that final, if they win.
Toxin screen down.
Fly have taken full control of Rubble by just simply contacting forward 3-player re-clear, and now stacked up in case YFP try to re-clear. They're just going to be ready to fight it. That won't be the case as the time is dwindling and YFP concert their efforts over towards the C and B side. Silent still.
Fly trying to position themselves for as fast a flank to see if possible in the event that we do get a commitment. Here it comes. Sonic Sensor removed. Starbound felt like they had the timing there. They did not.
30 seconds left.
And now they're going to have to contend with this three-person reflank, though. They've got the cam watching it. It does get broken. Elaborate on the angle. Going to need some assistance, though. Cage just for protection.
Sonda, what's the plan here? Try and get some waterfall presence. That's where YFP is stacked right now. They are wisely playing out of the danger zone. Paranoia thrown in. Who's going to double up here with the Omen? Sonda is there, but really can't leave a mark. Still a full health squad of YFP. Very nicely conducted pistol round. Much of this coming from the fact that they make the right choice in terms of sight. Good enough 1v3. A little paint chill action. Okay. Catching on to Marceline. No time for the defuse though, and eventually the spray through the wall will claim them.
They did maneuver the map very well there, especially in that post plant. That cam being up towards Mound from Elaborate really gave them the crucial info to make that maneuver, though. Spotting out the flanking players, so they felt the need to just push forward. They know that they can fight the weaker side as a group, trade that out, and then retain the map control towards Waterfall. Force Fly to have to fight into them. That was nicely done. They've claimed the necessary pistol. We'll see if they can get a clean flawless against an all classic. I was going to say buy, but that's not a buy. Just they all have classics. That's what you get when you play the game. There's no buying at all.
Toxins going up.
And of course now YFP have available to them this Lurking Viper. It's an interesting wall. Not the kind that we normally see thrown out. This one obviously makes B a little susceptible to a fast hit or a flood.
4 toxins going up.
Comes the wall here for Scary Shark. Just having to try and keep as many people here as possible. Okay. Sometimes you're going to throw caution to the wind. And she'll stowed away. And that leaves it open ready for Marceline to pursue that Prowler in. Now, YFP starting to feel like A might be even more of a tantalizing prospect, but this B site, as Elaborate has just discovered, is open.
Nice kill onto Ev, creating the pressure there. And again, this is YFP maneuvering on the map in pretty competent fashion. Controlling C, containing towards B, and
left.
Obviously now Elaborate pushing all the way. Going to get caught by Starbound, but ultimately it doesn't matter. It is just the Ghost, and Elaborate's going to play pretty aggressively with it on a round like this.
Yeah, again, that player obviously with the Ghost getting to be a bit more exploratory. Getting all the way into B. Starbound eventually makes their entrance onto the C side, but there's really not anything left to do in this round. So to play for an exit, Melia steps inside, says, pardon me, that's mine.
Cover going out.
And as one might expect, the anti-eco does not yield great results to FlyQuest.
It's really just YFP in this moment, that re-clear towards Rubble, fighting off the Prowler, finding that entry, and then pivoting back to the other side of the map where they had their lurkers containing. It's very simple, and they drew all the Flies rotates over to A off that pressure in the mid-round. For ultimately a pretty flawless round to some extent. They kept the important guns. Not buying up too much into this one, though. They've actually just got the Ghost on Corrupt. So not going too crazy.
Sense for YFP, in fact, there's probably really quite a few rounds that need to ration their economy through. FlyQuests always looking much more fragile. Okay, so a lot of neutral set up over on the C site. An early warning system, of course, within this barrier. That eventually is removed, though. Gravnet also. Another form of stall here. YFP now grouped up a little bit, but kind of surrounded on both sides. Util on the hands of Sondra, and somehow they win that trade. I do not know how she gets away with it. Dodonut hears all of this. Might be expecting a full commit to B, especially given that they are still at large over on the A side of the map. But Dodonut ducks out of the smoke.
What are these timings? How are these players surviving? Actual 9 lives. They should not. They should be deceased. Crazy situation. I like how YFP played it for the most part as well. You know, finding that deadlock utility early into the round, breaking it. Well, there was still about 1 minute 15 seconds on the clock. That is great to do. And then they're ready for that B fight as well. Crazy that they didn't come out on top.
You've got to be getting suspicious now. Shadows traveling. Here comes the commit to B. Leaves the A side completely open, and so now it has to be a full retake from FlyQuest. With, in fairness, Smokes to work with. Sonda can't really assist too much from where she ended up being killed. And that window is now rapidly closing anyway.
Thea does have a couple dark covers to place. Crucially, yeah, the one that just went out for Tree, cutting this angle off where 2 players from YFP are still. So they're going to need to be ready to swing for Melia on site. Swing together, play together.
This is going to get extremely messy right about now. Donut crosses, gives it another tickle with the Guardian. 1 shot was all it took for Scary Shark, and the rest of YFP get involved. All 3 remaining players get a frag. And bye-bye gun round for FlyQuest.
Yeah, it's simple, but it's executed to a T. They played to the win con. On tap, everybody swing. That's it. And win the duels. And they did it. They did exactly that. Economy, crush for Fly. They'll be able to get a couple decent, you know, the tier 2 weapons here and there to try to make something happen after this timeout. The Jovi's calling to try and halt this YFP comeback early. And before it becomes fully fledged for the millionth time in this tournament.
Yeah. It's just been a narrative that we've been more than happy to peddle out again and again. YFP and these comebacks has been something special now.
I'll keep peddling that narrative as long as they keep peddling the comebacks.
It's not editorializing if it's true.
Yeah, when they stop, I'll shut up. But what they keep doing, they did it in this series. Like, I'll shut up when they stop just pulling comebacks out of nowhere every goddamn game.
FlyQuest have 1 more gun round remaining here before YFP are fully caught up to them. So they're deliberating here, of course, in the round prior. Talking about maybe the ultimates they're trying to generate, maybe which individuals they're hoping to at least try and trade for one another. Again, more ult orbs for them. So YFP is starting to approach a critical mass of those as well, Wyatt. Round 17 could be
I must wait a moment.
A series-defining one.
A lot of utility from Corrupt being sent over towards A right now, with the dark cover obscuring that view from stairs or from sight. I mean, look at all the utility that's gone already. Haunt, Seize, and a Prowler, just to make a bit of presence known over on A. And you have Thea with the Sheriff just jiggle peeking. This doesn't see anything currently. Well, spotted someone.
Yep.
Saw something now, actually.
Here.
Only for a split second, though, so this A side, yeah, very weakly held again. It's not the first time in this series FlyQuest have tried to gamble on a stack, and it's not the first time YFP have sniffed it out and ended up making the right decision. Again, great mid-rounding. Plenty of time for this plant. And theoretically in a position to disrupt this, but very unlikely that they're going to get too much done there. Now I'm really trying to attract some attention. They do not know about Ev on this. They do not know. This fade is there.
Silence.
And there it is. That's the punish for it. Melia, a long way away from the site here. Ev not really in a position to go for a full stick defuse, though. He's got a weapon upgrade. Scary Shark going down. 2 more to deal with. That's 1. Marceline, Melia down.
Nightfall as well.
1 versus 1. Spycam Dart does catch on, but the Nightfall also reveals the location of the Cypher. Oh my god, Ev, what is that? That is unreal. The iBuyPower ace clutch for Ev. What an important round for FlyQuest to finally win. Nothing makes sense in this series.
That is stunning from Ev. What the hell, man? Just surviving on site, wrapping around. Corrupt unaware. Drops the Vandal. What is the shot on Marceline? And just the predictive spam headshot. Wallbang onto Elaborate. Oh my word. that might just be the round that gets Fly into the grand finals. The new addition to this team, as we mentioned before, coming up like that.
Just a bit of Valorant my time. Never have I seen a series that has been like this, so filled with these ridiculous aces, individual moments, the clutches. That is crazy. All right, YFP in onto the B site now. A bit of a frightening prospect, I'd like to think, especially against the showstopper, but hey.
Spike planted.
They're going to go for it anyway. They're not very much ready for that. Dave also slowly started to come alive again. Wait from hibernation. Sonda goes in, but hey, there's a good reason for that. Ultimate available. Sonda back in the game, but Ever's been brought down. Donut showstopper doesn't seem to have found any purchase, but Starbound from the other side finds it up. The annihilation? No, Scary Shark somehow able to avoid it. Now still has to throw down. Starbound removed. Still a 1 versus 2, and Donut spray is enough to get the job done. That's a hectic round, and YFP feeling their fingers start to slip from the cliff face.
Hectic as hell, and somehow within that chaos, Fly really retained their composure. Waiting over here at the baby door, Dodo Nut on that tight angle.
Spike planted.
Able to get that kill onto Marcelin. Crucial right there. Gaining access to that choke point to try and get back in. Another sick round win. A clutch like that on the prior round too, that gives your team plus 500 morale. All of a sudden, everyone is ready to shoot like you just watched your teammate do. Play with that confidence that it can genuinely instill in you, seeing one of your teammates make a play like that. Fantastic retake. Credits to the effort from Scary Shark as well, getting the Viper's Pit in there. That shot on the Starbound was pretty nasty too. Timeout call by YFP as we head into a round where they have the showstopper to play with. A crucial ultimate on Lotus, attack side specifically. How you can really burst into the C site with it especially.
This is the last timeout, of course, for YFP. Yeah, we saw the showstopper just now, right? I think Dodonut a couple rounds ago maybe threw it over onto that B site, but it's definitely very important when we start to move the fight to those parts of the map. And frankly, Wyatt, right? Marcelin can just rip that and force all the C defenders back into halls.
Listening.
In theory.
Yeah, it is possible, right? You just get into that C site, make Starbound just retreat. And so long as you deal with that deadlock utility, you get it for free. You can play the round out from there.
It's a big asterisk though, isn't it?
At least at the moment though, it's going to be YFP prodding towards Mound and Rubble as well. Amelia contains a potential B push.
Standard play around the low for the Scary Shark. Really wants to be the only player showing. Whilst the rest of YFP starts to filter out over towards Rubble's side. But they've got a cross here. Do it. Roar, okay. Thayer actually spots the raise. So now knows it's at least 2 players here. This should be enough to drag somebody into Baby Door. Somebody else, rather. Prowler also looks like it caught onto Elaborate there.
It's been quiet from YFP, working up towards this smoke. When it fades, they're going to be ready to pop. The dark cover is looking like it's going to come towards stairs to cut off this angle that they is holding.
Sonda alone then. Against the showstopper, Sonda able to get clear of it. Okay. Limping, hurt, yes, but still alive. This will allow YFP, though, to get into the site properly. Now the Ultra Starbound being able to get value out of that operator. Looking a little bit slimmer. And a fall back towards Tree.
This could be the round for the game. The economy, terrible for YFP if they lose this.
They're all coming. They're all flooding into the side. Back from upper. Marcelin has to go huge here. Starbound's operator gets involved, and now Scary Shark emerges. Knows they need to stop this, but Ev is there. Ev is there again. That's the Tree presence cleared out. One from upper on the flank in mid-air. Sonda cartwheels into action and rips Corrupt's head off. And that is going to be one of the last few nails in the coffin. Dodonut will end the round, get the defuse, and take Fly to series points.
I mean, what the hell? What is that from Sonder? Leaping down the rope, finds that kill.
Last player standing.
I mean, it's just no longer in the hands of YFP or Fly. It is just in the hands of luck, the developers of Valorant, in a moment like that, to get them over the finish line, to get them into the grand final. That is just so crazy. With the spike down, the buy is not ideal for YFP, but it's enough to get them some rifles to work with.
Slow and steady. Cypher cam to Mound to make sure no one playing up points, no one on the other side of it, but Starbound is just happy to hold the line. Oh, buddy! The Sonic Sensor makes it an easy kill. Now what from YFP? Who is supposed to step up here? Melly at least has gotten over to Waterfall. There is a Sonic Sensor on the side properly, and Sonder sitting on the other side of the smoke right now, but a shorty.
And it's feeling near impossible. They're going to get the spike down. Look at how passive Fly are playing. They want to just play for the full retake. Sonder makes it even more dire for YFP. You can see the desperation from their players. They know that they're on the cusp of defeat. They're trying to make something happen so desperately. And look at the patience, the discipline from Fly. They're ready to make it to the final.
Sonder knows they don't have to overextend for this at all, and for the third time this year, it'll be a Game Changers North America final between Spotify Rebellion and FlyQuest Red.
And at this point, it's just a matter of will FlyQuest tomorrow be good enough to finally beat Shopify for the first time this year. They played them in the grand finals of Series 1. They didn't win a map. Series 2, they won 2 maps. It required Floor to drop 40 to win that game. Can they finally best them tomorrow? That is the question. They showed up today when it mattered. But you have to just give so much credit to YFP. This team that has only been competing together for a couple months at this point. They pushed one of the best teams, one of the top 2 teams we've had all year, to their absolute limit. Really fantastic showing from them.
And a best of 5, a full 5 maps is going to take any more newly formed team to their limit. Hell, even the veterans like your FlyQuest Reds of the world are going to be feeling the fatigue after a game like that. And they almost made it. They really have the depth. This YFPX team, of course, after being together so recently, coming together so recently. And now there's definitely a conversation for a big 3 in North America, which is, if anything, a great result to take out of this game for YFP. Man, crazy stuff. We've got a lot to talk about in this series. That's all from myself and White for the time being. Of course, we'll check back in with our experts here to wrap up the day in just a moment.